So let's be a little bit interactive here. What to you is the hardest part about marketing your business online? Like I said, you can either unmute or you can put it into the chat. I'd love to know what do you think is the most difficult part of really starting to gain some traction online? All right, let me look at the chat here, see what's going on. Kara says, which steps to take? Yeah, so if we look at the digital dominance method here, which one? Where do I start? What do I do? Definitely a big part of what's hard. And in some cases, there's so many things to do that people just kind of stop and pause and end up not doing any of them. So Kara, thank you for sharing. Who else has thoughts on which, what's the hardest piece for you to get started with marketing your business?
It's Renee. A lot of things are very confusing, and that's why I'm glad I found you, because I feel that you and your team could get me where I need to be, because so much I do not understand. I don't want to understand it because it's too complicated, and that's not my wheelhouse.
Yep.
So knowing that I have someone I can trust, and I think that's the big part, because I had some people I didn't trust before, and it just didn't work together. So I think that I need to just leave it to the professionals to point me in the right direction, and it's been good. So that's my answer.
Well, thank you, Renee.
Sure.
That was unexpected, but thank you. So to kind of reiterate that, there's a lot of confusing pieces, right? And you're trying to run a business, right? You're not also trying to be a marketer and try to do all that. So sometimes it comes down to the fact that you just need to, like she said, let the professionals do what they do best and just, continue to work on the business as you are. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that. All right, Susie, you got the link. Daniel says, knowing how much to spend without eroding profit. Sure, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a little bit about how much to spend, how much you could spend to expect to get leads back, things like that. So that's awesome. Susie also said which platform to use. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there as to where to go, where to start, what to use. That's awesome. So thank you guys for sharing. I do really appreciate that. So one of the things you obviously need to know is, or need to have, is you need to set clear goals. A goal without a plan is just a wish, right? If you don't have some solid goals set down and you don't have a destination, how do you know when you got there, right? If you're just kind of wandering around, lost at sea, I guess you could say, you're not going to know when you've arrived or when you've achieved that particular thing. So what we need to have is clear goals, because that's like having wind in your sails. It gets you moving in the right direction and gives you a destination. So I want to tell you about this Harvard study that they did. They interviewed one of the graduating classes, and of all the people graduating, this is Harvard, by the way, 84% had no specific goals. 13% had goals, but didn't write them down, didn't make them concrete. And 3% had clear written goals and plans to accomplish those goals. Now, what's pretty amazing here is that the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who didn't even have goals at all. But even more crazy, the 3% who had them clear written down goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97%. So, this really speaks to having something clear, written down, have a destination, and, move towards that. And beyond that, you need to have some sort of a framework. So it's not just, next year, I want to hit this revenue number, right? There should be other goals along the way that move you towards that. I saw a great graphic of somebody that needed to climb a ladder, and you don't just stand at the bottom of the ladder and all of a sudden you're at the top of the ladder, right? You've got to go through each of those rungs to get there, each of those steps in order to achieve your goal of getting whatever it is on top of the roof. So same kind of analogy here, but you need to have them written down, and you need to have some sort of a minimum set so that you know kind of where, at a minimum, you need to have a 1-year goal, quarterly goals, and then monthly goals. So each of these are very important so that you can see forward momentum. If you don't achieve one of these goals, you reset a little bit and then you continue on. But this helps you at least, have some sort of a plan. Again, it's not just a 1-year goal where you're like, well, I hope I make it, right? You've got a path to get to that as well. And then the other piece, you have to have a stopping point so that you have something to stop, reflect. Typically, this is the time of year, and probably why you're on our training today is because you need to have a point where you can stop, reflect. What am I going to do? How did I do this year? What am I going to do next year? Very important to have these pieces as well. But again, without a stopping point, you're not going to be able to realize you have to go back and reflect on that stuff either.